We're almost near the end of the night now. It's almost time for Santa to come around, isn't it? It's getting late, right? But there's still one more member we've got up here for the dais. Isn't it now? It's Scrooge, right? It's me old partner. Oh, Scroogey boy, good to see you, right? Long time no see. I ain't got anything bad to say about Mr. Scrooge, no I don't, no. Only good times, right? Remember that time when we ripped off that old grandma, Miss Peterson, right? Oh, and there was that time what we ripped off that orphanage, right? We closed it, they're like, oh no, don't shut down the orphanage. Well, good times is all I got to say about that, right? But not anymore, no. Now all I got is these chains and this shitty bandage around my head, right? So you listen up, you stop being a dick, right? You gotta stop being a prick, you know that, right? So why don't we all try to cheer him up with some applause, right? Make some noise for a man of the hour. Happy Laser Screen.
Young lady, can you tell me what day it is? Is it the day of the roast? Have I missed the roast? Damn it!
Ladies and gentlemen, if there are truly any of you here. Old Scrooge falls victim to the need for glasses. I'm afraid my old friend Jacob Marley is up to one of his devilish Christmas jests again. I apologize that you have been dragged into this. Marley is a degenerate Christmas prankster. Each year he concocts some folly to bedevil me. I'd hoped to sleep right through this year's event. But ever since his last trick of swapping out my sleeping tonic with hallucinogens, I found the prospect of sleep to be quite traumatic. Usually he plays his tricks on me in my office or, oddly enough, in my private chambers. I see this year we are inexplicably taken to an opium den. Have you seen the water closet here? I took one look earlier and I promptly gave a young man a farthing to fetch me a pair of adult diapers. And look at all of you. I see no expense was spared in choosing your finest evening wear. You look like the cast of Oliver Twist. If they were poorer with less fashion sense. Why are you gathered here? Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Wait a minute. Is this a prison? Is this a workhouse? If the ghost of Christmas yet to come had shown me that my fate would one day bring me to this place, I would have gladly jumped in the grave right then. I want to take a moment to recognize a few invited guests who sent me condolences that they could not attend tonight's festivities. You may not know, but the good jesters of Scruffy City Comedy had originally considered roasting the Lord Jesus Christ for their holiday merriment. To break the tie, it was decided to roast the person with the most beloved Christmas story of all time. And so I am here. In his defense, apparently caring for a homeless infant is a lot less jolly than the psychological torture and sleep deprivation of elderly people. Regardless, Jesus sends his regrets for being unable to be a part of Christmas this year. Also not here in person, but in spirit, is Rudolph. On a related note, my compliments to the establishment's management for the excellent venison stew before the show. My old friend Mr. Potter from Bedford Falls could not attend. He sends his regrets. He is currently leading a Senate investigation into possible fraud at the local savings and loan. Such a good man, always with a keen eye towards the business, no matter what time of the year it is. But look at the assembled rabble they've sent to honor me tonight. And each of them, as well as you, all with the mistaken belief that I hate Christmas. In fact, I never hated Christmas. Christmas hated me. I wanted to be a part of the Christmas merriment, but you would not allow it. It ruined your preconceived notions. It upset your plans. You need someone who is traumatized by Christmases past, who feels alone, forgotten, and miserable. You need someone who has lost the ability to access the love of Christmas buried in his heart, so that you can relentlessly beat him over the head with that fact in order to feel superior in your own Christmas spirit. And to that I say, bah! Humbug! I want to be a part of Christmas. I reformed once, but you still only saw me as a villain. Forgiveness must not be part of the Christian spirit of the holiday, it would seem. I was one of the first passionate environmentalists. Was I not faithfully advising against the unnecessary burning of coal? And yet you come here tonight on your bicycles and your hybrid cars to mock me. But let us not dwell on that. Allow me instead to thank those who have come here tonight to honor me. Megyn Kelly of Fox News was here. I tried to learn more about Megyn in advance of tonight by watching as much Fox News as possible. And I cannot believe you people hold me in such low regard. When your most watched news channel makes me sound like good King Wenceslas. I must admit I have no idea which one of the lady journalists, and we'll have to stretch the meaning of both of those words. Which one was Megyn, as they all looked exactly the same. I assume this is what the viewers want, but it strikes me as a classic case of the blonde leading the blind. The only person on that channel who even comes close to making sense is Bill O'Reilly, and he's a dirty Irish patty, so it's unlikely someone else is writing his opinions for him. Megyn Kelly speaks of a war on Christmas, and after hearing her speak, I believe she is that war's first mentally disabled veteran. War on Christmas? At one time, I was Christmas's greatest defender. I even bought a turkey and presents for a crippled boy and his dim-witted father. And yet my past still haunts me. I am still cast as the villain, and all of you taunt me mercilessly, and allow me to show you how. As a boy, my fondest Christmas wish one year was a puppet theater. That morning, I found a beautiful package waiting. It contained only one puppet, Punch, from the Punch and Judy puppet theater plays I used to enjoy in Hyde Park. My father explained that I would have to make do without Judy, just as he had to make do without my mother, who I killed in childbirth. My love of puppetry and childlike entertainment was crushed. From then on, puppets came to symbolize all that was tragic and lost to me at Christmas, such as the love of my own mother. And who do you bastards invite to the roast? Jim fucking Henson. Look at you, Jim. All smug and satisfied with yourself, as if you once knew the love of a mother and the encouraging word of a father. You brought to life a hyper-aggressive nymphomaniac pig obsessed with a nebbish frog. And yet I am the one not welcome in the sight of children. Humbug, I say, humbug! I want to thank you, however, for the small favor you did by not casting one of your felt demons to portray me in your own movie version of my life. Instead, you went with Michael Caine. Congratulations on that. I bet that was a difficult get, since Caine auditions for every damn role available. I think he once auditioned to be one of the two girls with a cup. Nevertheless, I take comfort in knowing that in the end, you, Jim Henson, are no different than your creations, dead inside. Oh, really? Really? Oh, you've heard all of this tonight. I mentioned that the dead guy is in fact dead. And once again, I'm the asshole. See, this is exactly why this shit happens every Christmas to me. The gingerbread man was here for whatever that's worth. Mr. Gingerbread Man, please allow me to point out one small detail. You are not even a Christmas story. You are just the tale of a possessed piece of baked goods who runs around screaming that he will not be eaten until he is finally eaten while hiding in a wolf's mouth. Let me repeat that bit. He doesn't want to be eaten, so he's convinced to hide in a wolf's mouth. You are clearly not the most mentally gifted biscuit in the tin, now are you? It is perfectly obvious to me and all of us here tonight that whatever the secret ingredient was that brought you to life, it most certainly was not Ritalin. Now, I would be lying if I said I was not upset with Misters Rankin and Bass. Of all the wonderful characters they could have sent me tonight to honor me, I ended up with a show-two singing B-story character in the form of Mr. Heatmiser. I'd hoped at least that the very racist Santa from the Rudolph special might be bothered to visit. At the very least, that fey little elf who wants to be a dentist makes me laugh. Heatmiser, as you probably know, lives in the clouds with his brother/life partner, Cold Miser. They spend a fair amount of their time arguing whether there should be snow in the south or heat in the north, and throwing snowballs and fireballs at each other's faces. I think I paraphrased that correctly. At any rate, there's a lot of balls and a lot of faces. You are an unrepentant advocate of destroying the white Christmas dreams of millions of people, Mr. Heatmiser, yet you are beloved. I once paid for my nephew's wedding as a Christmas gift, and 57 movies have been produced to describe what an unlikable bastard I am. It amazes me that you have become a beloved holiday tradition character, Mr. Heatmiser. It does not amaze me, however, that you represent all that Megyn Kelly and her friends know about climate change. Cindy Lou Who. Who broke you, Cindy? What happened to you? You once represented all that was sweet and innocent about the Christmas spirit. And, like Tiny Tim, you were terrible at walking. Come here, Cindy. Come to me. Come to me, Cindy. Let me share a Christmas secret with you. Cindy, just standing this close to you, I can feel my Christmas spirit rising. Once, during a visit with the ghost of Christmas present, Cindy, he showed me two children and told me their names were Want and Despair. And it didn't dawn on me until this very moment what he meant, because I gaze upon you and your broken life, and all I can think of is, I want despair. Going back to your seat, Cindy. Uncle Scrooge will humbugger you later. God bless her. She's a dull-witted harlot, but that ass, though. And my old friend the Grinch made it. The Grinch, at last an equal in understanding with me in his repeated victimization by the merciless hordes of Christmas do-gooders. You know how it is, Grinch, don't you? Yeah. We've both been there. Grinch, I know you've been a loyal friend. So I need to tell you something that may come as a surprise and a shock to you, but it needs to be said. That bit about your heart being two sizes too small, I'm fairly sure that's not physically possible. I don't know who told you that story, but I'm certain he's no doctor. And yet, Mr. Grinch, you are not a mean one. You are, like me, merely misunderstood. And we have both lived to see our names dragged into the gutters and memorialized in infamy as the worst of what Christmas and the human spirit have to offer. And did we both not repent of our past sins? Did we not try our best to bring the joy of the season to all? And yet our names represent evil and villainy, while those who never sought salvation are honored. You have come here tonight and answer me this, people. Why are the names of Scrooge and Grinch meant forever to signify miserliness and meanness, while victory is still a trump? It's like, some were better than others. It's like you want me to hate Christmas. I am the sacrifice that must be slaughtered each December in order for you to have your fun. And yet that is not what I wanted. I wanted to be a part of your Christmas fun, your reindeer games, if you will. But every time I try, you find new ways to torture me and to make me dread Christmas even more. Which brings me to my old friend, Jacob Marley, you old son of a dog. We were the best of friends, weren't we, Jacob? What great fun we used to have. Yes, we both had reasons in our past to dislike Christmas. But we found solace in each other's company each year, distracting one another from the enforced holiday humbug all around us. Each year was like a magical Thanksgiving episode of Friends that we got to live in real life. And then that one Christmas Eve, those many years ago, when I ran gaily to your house to share the jolly news that Miss Habersham had finally agreed to our repeated suggestions for a polyamorous lifestyle. And that it should commence that very night, as she had just had the most splendid cake delivered to her home. And it was with great expectations that I entered your home to toast to our good fortune. And there in your chambers, I found you. On the floor was a strumpet girl, half-clothed, long dead. She had overdosed on that vile concoction of gin and morphine you'd been going on about. Drowned in her own bile. And you, shackled to your bed, your body cold, your eyes lifeless, your trousers down around your ankles, a single chain around your neck from the canopy rail above, and your shriveled tallywhacker in your hand. The room was littered with half-empty bottles of port, lewd engravings and daguerreotypes of ladies of ill repute, and a few fancy gentlemen, too. And who had to clean up that mess, Jacob? Who? On Christmas Eve? Who had to clean up that mess? Me, Jacob. For God's sakes, it was going to be the best Christmas Eve ever. Even better than the year you accidentally made that trifle with the roast beef in it when the cookbook pages stuck together. Regardless, you ruined our perfect Christmas. Because you had to be selfish. You couldn't control your urges until you, me, and Miss Habersham were together at last. As an aside, I often wonder what became of Miss Habersham. I never remembered to write and tell her of your death. I'm certain she rebounded nicely. And now you torture me with your endless pranks. One year on Christmas Eve, you sent to my office 3 ladies who disrobed to music. Do you know how long it takes a Victorian woman to undress? It cost me a day and a half wages waiting on them to get out of their corsets. But none of that compares to the Christmas Eve you sent the ghosts. You're here, ghosts, aren't you? I can feel your presence. And there have never been 3 more useless tools in converting a man to the spirit of Christmas as you. Christmas past, what was your plan exactly? You took me back to see visions of all the worst Christmas moments in my life. My Christmas days locked away in the boarding school. The Christmas Eve my beloved Belle broke our engagement. How exactly was this supposed to work? Did you even think it through? Was I intended to look upon these scenes and say, yes, I see now, what jolly fun I've been missing all along? And you, Christmas present with your high and mighty holly jolly attitude. You're nothing more than a peeping Tom. Taking me out to peer in windows of parties I clearly was not invited to. We spent an inordinate amount of time watching my nephew snogging his fiancée. I only hope you were as disturbed and aroused as I was. And you, the one they call Christmas yet to come, what was your strategy? You thought you would point out that I would die within a year? Guess what, Missy? I own a counting house. I know how actuarial tables work. Of course I might die in the next year. I'm an old man wandering around the winter nights of London in my pajamas with ghosts. I'm surprised I survived the night. And you try to convince me that somehow my lack of Christmas cheer will kill Tiny Tim. Wow. And I guess his father's absolute refusal to invest meager wages in medical care rather than chestnuts had absolutely nothing to do with Tim's mortality. Overall, the three of you conspired to show me all the things I hate about the false merriment and humbug of Christmas, as if that was your argument in favor of Christmas. Did you even read the instructions Marley gave you? Begone, spirits. You're as useless as Fagin's pickpockets at a nudist colony. Cratchit. I see you sitting there, Cratchit, probably watching the clock, wondering if I'll finish this so you can get on to doing something less than you're doing now. Probably daydreaming about the moment you can get home and begin journaling about some obscure troupe of musicians no one knows about but you. Look at you, Cratchit. Why did I let anyone talk me into returning you to your position at the firm? I'm docking you for the office supplies, by the way, just so we're clear on that altogether. I try to be a caring employer, but the world acts like I owe you more than you earn simply because you lack the ability to stop procreating. I have employed the Victorian equivalent of a Duggar. You have so many children, you haven't even bothered to name some of them. You should have noticed with each child, Bob, that the quality of the copy was diminishing with each new reproduction. Tiny Tim was simply nature's way of saying that first cousins should not have that many children together. The next time you're thinking about fathering a child, Bob, pull out early. You know, pretend you're at work. And for God's sakes, man, quit asking your children to reach into your pockets to find the chestnuts. That's unseemly. And now we come to my spiritual father, my creator, if you will, Mr. Charles Dickens. Oh, how you must hate me, sir. Do I haunt your sleep? Does it bother you knowing that I, the main instrument in your diatribe against the commercialization and commodification of Christmas, am now the single most popular Christmas star of movies, television, and the stage? Have you, like me, lost count of the endless adaptations of our story, now told for profit at Christmas? Have you tired yet of seeing me depicted in the holiday sales brochures? I am a Christmas cash cow. And you receive not one penny because I am public domain. I suppose it sticks in your throat like a bit of undigested beef. I am both the best of times and worst of times for you, sir. But it is fine to me if you should hate me, for I hate you too, sir. Do you want to know why, Mr. Dickens? Please allow me to quote for you. No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. Even the blind men's dogs appeared to know him, and when they saw him coming on, would tug their owners into doorways and up courts, and then would wag their tails as though they said, "No eye at all is better than the evil eye, Dark Master." You wrote that about me and put it in a book. You may not know that Not too long ago, I called upon Belle after all these years. She had divorced her husband, he'd been building up debts and dallying with shop girls, and there were issues with his manhood, but that's not the important thing right now. The important thing is that I called upon her in hopes that we might be able to rekindle an old flame. It was Christmas Eve, and there in her parlor on her reading table was that book opened to that passage. Do you know how much of a cock block it is to tell a woman that dogs and small children do not like me? You are a scoundrel of the first order, sir. All of you hate me, and yet wonder why I do not have the Christmas spirit. Yet do you offer it to me? No. You only laugh at my past traumas and force me to relive them for your traditions. I am resigned to my fate. No one will ever love me for who I am or who I want to be. What is it, Tim?
I love you, Mr. Scrooge. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Tim. Of course you do. But you're an idiot child. With not very long to live. But for your sake, Timmy, I'll find the holiday spirit tonight. And in the coming year, I'll lose that spirit again. So these people can focus their hatred on me and do not one day make you the villain. I will be the villain this holiday needs, not the one it deserves. My friends, rejoice with me! The Christmas spirit has taken hold until the side effects of the pre-roast eggnog wear off. What do you say, Timmy? Should we wish them a Merry Christmas?
Yes, we should.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.